next statement is, as chair, I would describe Rethinking Economics NL as a hierarchical organization. I got 5 no's. That's very clear. Who wants to start?
I can say something already. I think personally, reflecting on my time as a chair, I think organization is necessary for things to be done. And we could have a whole discussion and write PhDs about this. So I think I'm just going to say like very lightly. I think things worked very well because we knew how, like, we assigned each other roles, and that made it just easier for you to focus on one thing. But when I think of the word hierarchy, I really think of somebody being on top of somebody else. And I don't think that, at least as far as I've been active in Rethinking Economics, I've never experienced that. So I wouldn't describe it that way.
Oh, who wants to jump in?
Well, I voted a definite no, because I think the organization has never been hierarchical, and it doesn't seem a mode of organizing that fits it very well. But apart from someone being the boss, which is the explicit form of hierarchy, I think there's also stuff to think about, like who speaks for the organization. And that doesn't mean that they then boss over everyone else, but that is also a form of maybe power differential between people. But then again, if nobody wants to speak for the organization, then then nothing is said. So I think this is also for the group of the coming year a question. If everyone is modest about not putting themselves forward too much, then nothing gets said. And this is for me the risk of the other end of the scale. Hierarchy is here, we don't want to be there, but if you say everyone is super equal, so no one should step forward, then nothing happens sometimes. So this is something to think about.
How did you do that as chair? How did you keep that balance?
I spoke out a lot and still do, but it's I mean, I guess in a way I had the easiest position in all this because I was the first chair of Rethinking Netherlands, and then there's no one been before you who you have to maybe consider. And as far as I'm concerned, people of the group now don't have to consider me or Sam or Marc or Ellie, but I can speak for me. You don't have to concern about what I said and whether that matches. But for the earlier you come, maybe the easier it feels, and the less of an inheritance you might feel. But what we did two things. So basically everyone who wants to speak out can do it, and we started a writers platform where we tried to help different people in the group who had an idea to maybe write an opinion piece or a blog or something else, to help them in the writing process. So to actively invite people and try to lift up the voices rather than step back yourself. So this was sort of the solution we did.
Okay, Sam, did you also experience it this way?
Yeah, very much. Yeah, I was. I think what for me, like, really, I was quite surprised by, and like I got involved in this national meeting. I think it was in June or something, and then 2 months later, I was asked to become chair of this organization. So I think that shows how quickly, if there was a hierarchy, like, he would have time to move up, so to say. But here there was no hierarchy to move up or anything. There was just who is motivated to do to really be active in this movement, who wants to do what, and then we divided the tasks. Although, of course, I mean, we are all, I think, quite biased in the sense of being chairs and then asking if this is a hierarchical organization. We are obviously in a nice position to say no. But I think as far as I've been, like, my experience has been, as Joris said, like, if someone wants to do something, I think we give people the space and we try to enable them to fulfill their own thing. So I at least have not had experiences of people trying to push other people down or be like, no, I'm the chair, you can do this or something. But yeah, I think if also like for people who want to join, I think it's like the idea that if you come up with a good idea, then you can just do it, and that it's really that simple. I think at least for me in the beginning, it was sort of hard to get used to the fact that if I come up with something, I can just do it. And then that's part of rethinking economics. Like, at least my experience is it has been so simple. But yeah, getting people to realize this and to really become part of the movement in that sense, to really do this, I think that's sometimes a challenge.
Cool. So, Marc, how is this for you? And also, how did COVID affect the organization according to you?
Okay, the COVID is a big one. I'm gonna respond to it later. I think the question that you also raised is really important, and I am actually really grateful of how kind of the spirit that kind of my predecessors transferred to me. I think from what I've known of kind of the transition and the conversations I had with all of you was that you very much transmitted the sense of everybody who is passionate about this issue, who is motivated to do actions and projects, should completely be encouraged to do so. And I think that is very valuable, and I think that is a cornerstone of what Rethinking Economics is. I think we've been very open in terms of just inviting people to join. There are no entry requirements, there is no real check. If people are fit to be part of this community, it is really, do you want to be part of this community, and do you want to contribute to it? And then it becomes it's a very quick process of, we met everyone for coffee, then we talk about the projects, and then you're immediately very much part of the core of what Rethinking Economics Netherlands is. And I think that's great. And I think about kind of this, certainly what I also recognize in my experience, what you always mentioned about, sometimes there are not that many people who are actually willing or able or have time, or for whatever reason are willing to speak out or to take up a speaking arrangement or something similar. But I guess the response to that is kind of what I said before, this constant encouragement of others to take up roles and to be really considered, asking around who has time, and don't be too narrow in people you approach for taking up certain tasks. I think another kind of tension that is important, maybe useful to keep in mind also for the future, is I think something that comes out of Rethinking Economics being a volunteer-based organization, which means that much of the motivation and activities that we're doing relies on us being friends with each other, us knowing each other, and then through kind of also wanting to work with that particular person or be part of that group, implementing certain projects and activities. And I think it's important to keep in mind that this doesn't kind of evolve to, at least from the outset, perceived clubbiness, but that it is important to kind of, although we kind of all maybe a broad friend group, or know each other personally and value each other personally, that we continue to be very open and invite everybody who is interested to join what we're doing.
Okay, and then Aleksandra, I mean, basically you're the fresh eyes, so you can say if it looks hierarchical from the outside coming in. What do you think?
Yeah, so obviously I don't have any chair experience yet, so it was very interesting to hear all your thoughts on this. I also voted no, though, because the way I see hierarchy is having this, one system of thought, one opinion, or like one system of organizing thing coming top down. And I think that really contradicts, the main objective of our organization, which is pluralism. And even though that's a mission for education, I think it also transcribes to our organization and like the way we do things within it. And so I think it's really about, having a network and interaction of different ideas between people. So it's also very important that this that this hierarchy or this one system of thinking isn't the one that's prevailing. But it was interesting for me to hear Joris's point that, you know, you still need some sense, some way of organizing things in the organization in order to work efficiently as an organization. So you need some clearly defined roles. But it was also interesting to hear, you know, Marc's opinion that you still need to be friends within the organization, because we are a student organization, so we still have to take ourselves seriously, but not that seriously. And yeah, pretend that we're bosses of each other. Yeah, at least that's my way of seeing it.